For many seniors, leg cramps while sleeping aren't just a small annoyance, they're a nightly shock. One moment you're resting peacefully, and the next, your calf locks up in a stabbing pain so sharp it steals your breath. You rub, you stretch, you wait for the knot to release. But even when it does, you're left wide awake, afraid it will strike again. If you've been living with those midnight cramps, if you want legs that feel steady, strong, and pain-free, both while you sleep and when you move, the answer may be simpler than you think. Today, we're revealing the top 8 vitamins and minerals every senior should know about. These nutrients are proven to help stop nighttime cramps, improve muscle function, protect bone density, and keep your circulation flowing so your legs can truly rest at night. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning without soreness. You walk without stiffness. And you climb stairs without that heavy, dragging feeling in your legs. That's what the right nutrition can give you. So whether you're someone who enjoys a slow walk in the park, a bit of light gardening, or simply wants to get through the night without being jolted awake in pain, this video is for you. Before we begin, I'd love to know, how often do you get leg cramps at night? Tell me in the comments, and feel free to share any remedies you've tried. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our most important health tips from Senior Health Daily. Let's make your nights calm and your legs stronger. Together. We'll start with the one vitamin that quietly decides whether your legs stay calm at night or cramp up without warning. 1. Vitamin D, the balance and reaction time booster. You might think of vitamin D as the bone vitamin, but when it comes to your legs, it's so much more than that. Picture this. You're walking across your kitchen and your foot catches on the corner of a rug. In that split second, your legs either react and save you from falling, or they don't. That reaction, the speed, the muscle power, the coordination, depends in part on vitamin D. And here's where it gets tricky. As you get older, your skin produces less vitamin D from sunlight, and if you're spending less time outdoors, your levels can drop fast. Low vitamin D doesn't just make your bones brittle. It quietly weakens your muscles, especially the fast-twitch fibers that help you catch yourself when you stumble. Without those fibers firing properly, your reaction time slows down, your steps feel less sure, and something as small as a missed stair can turn into a dangerous fall. Have you noticed yourself hesitating before standing up from a chair, or feeling wobbly when you start walking? That could be your body's way of telling you it's running low on this critical nutrient. The science backs it up. A massive review of 35 clinical trials involving almost 60,000 older adults found that getting the right amount of vitamin D, not too little, not too much, can cut the risk of falls by as much as 22%. The sweet spot? About 800 to 1,000 IU per day, especially if your blood levels are on the low side. It's not about megadoses. In fact, those didn't show extra benefit. It's about steady, consistent support, so your muscles and nerves can do their job. So how do you get enough? A short walk in the morning sun, a serving of salmon or mackerel a couple of times a week, fortified milk or plant milk, egg yolks. They all help. But here's the catch. Food and sunlight alone often aren't enough for seniors, especially if you live in a colder climate or avoid the sun. That's where a daily supplement, taken under your doctor's guidance, can make all the difference. And here's something to think about. If you could improve your balance and reaction time in just a few months, would you do it? Because that's what the research suggests is possible when you correct a vitamin D deficiency. But muscles don't just need the signal to move, they need the solid framework to push against. And that framework? That's built with the next nutrient we're about to talk about. 2. Calcium, the bone fortress builder. Think about the last time you tripped on something small, maybe the edge of a step or a crack in the sidewalk. Even if your muscles reacted, they can only save you if the structure underneath is solid. That structure is your bones, and calcium is what keeps them strong enough to handle the unexpected. Without enough calcium, every step you take is a gamble. You might feel fine today, But what happens when one wrong move leads to a fracture that keeps you in a chair for months? Here's the truth most people over 60 don't realize. Your bones aren't static. They're constantly being broken down and rebuilt. In your younger years, that rebuilding happens faster than the breakdown. But after midlife, the balance shifts, and without the right building materials, like calcium, your bones gradually lose density. It's why hip fractures, femur breaks, and stress fractures are so common in older adults, sometimes from falls that wouldn't have caused a problem in your 40s. And calcium isn't just a bone story. Every time you take a step, your muscles rely on calcium to contract. Without it, your movements can feel sluggish, your legs might cramp more often, and even standing from a chair can take extra effort. Have you noticed your calves tightening after a short walk, or a lingering soreness that doesn't make sense? That might not be just age. It could be your body telling you it's running low on this mineral. You can get calcium from more than just a glass of milk. Leafy greens like kale and bok choy, sardines with the bones in, fortified plant milks, tofu, almonds, they all contribute. But here's where it gets tricky. As you age, your gut becomes less efficient at absorbing calcium, and certain medications can make it worse. That's why some people need a supplement to reach the recommended 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams per day. Just remember, more isn't better. Taking too much calcium, especially from supplements, can cause kidney stones or calcium deposits where you don't want them, like in your arteries. And here's something to think about. You can have all the calcium in the world, but if your body isn't sending the right signals to your legs, your muscles won't respond the way they should. That's where the next vitamin comes in, one that has less to do with building and more to do with communication. 3. Vitamin B12, the nerve conductor. If your legs have ever felt heavy, clumsy, or just slow to respond, you might have blamed it on getting older. But what if the real problem isn't your muscles at all? What if it's the wiring? Every movement you make starts with a signal from your brain, traveling down your spinal cord and into the nerves that tell your leg muscles what to do. Vitamin B12 is like the insulation on those wires. Without enough of it, the signals weaken, slow down, or get scrambled, and suddenly your legs don't quite do what you expect. Here's the catch. B12 deficiency is surprisingly common in people over 60. It's not always because you're not eating enough. In fact, you might be getting plenty from meat, fish, eggs, or dairy. The problem is absorption. As you age, your stomach produces less acid and less intrinsic factor, both of which are needed to pull B12 out of food. Add in medications like acid reducers, and your levels can quietly drop for years without you knowing. The symptoms can creep in so slowly that you barely notice them. A little numbness in your toes, a bit more stumbling when you walk, a feeling that your legs tire out too quickly. Does any of that sound familiar? Left unchecked, B12 deficiency can cause permanent nerve damage, making balance problems and falls much more likely. The good news is that restoring your B12 can make a difference, and sometimes faster than you'd expect. One study found that seniors with low B12 who took 100 micrograms a day for just 3 months improved their muscle strength and quality, getting closer to people who'd never been deficient. If you're already over 80, correcting B12 might even improve the way you walk. You'll find B12 in clams, liver, salmon, tuna, eggs, and dairy. If you're plant-based, look for fortified cereals and plant milks, or talk to your doctor about a supplement or periodic injections. And remember, B12 is water-soluble, so your body will flush out what it doesn't use. But that doesn't mean you should take huge doses without guidance. Think of it this way. If vitamin D and calcium build strong legs, B12 makes sure the messages to those legs are loud and clear. But even the best messages won't help if your muscles are too tense to move freely. That's why the next nutrient might be the one that helps you finally sleep without waking up in pain. 4. Magnesium, the muscle relaxer. You know that moment when you're just drifting off to sleep and suddenly your calf locks up so hard it feels like it's trying to tear itself in two? That's not just bad luck. That's your muscles screaming for magnesium. This mineral is the quiet backstage manager for every contraction and release your muscles make. Without enough magnesium, the signal that tells your muscles to relax gets lost, and they seize up, often in the middle of the night when you least expect it. As you get older, magnesium deficiency becomes more common, and not always because you're eating poorly. Medications for high blood pressure, heart issues, or acid reflux can quietly drain your magnesium stores. Stress does it too, and so does a diet that's heavy on processed foods. Over time, that low magnesium can turn into restless legs, muscle cramps, and even that heavy leg feeling when you walk upstairs. Have you noticed cramps that come out of nowhere, or a twitch that just won't quit? The research here is encouraging. In one study, older adults with restless leg syndrome took 200 milligrams of magnesium citrate daily for 8 weeks and saw their symptoms ease and their sleep improve. That's not a magic cure, but it's a strong sign that the right amount of magnesium can help calm overactive muscles and give you a better night's rest. You can find magnesium in foods you probably already like: pumpkin seeds, almonds, spinach, black beans, avocados. But here's the tricky part. Even a balanced diet sometimes doesn't hit the daily target, especially if your body's losing more than it takes in. That's where supplements can step in, with forms like magnesium glycinate or citrate being easier to absorb than others. Imagine this. You go to bed, your legs feel relaxed, you drift into deep sleep, and you wake up without that sharp, stabbing pain that ruins the night. Wouldn't that change the way you feel about mornings? Magnesium can help you get there, but muscles don't work alone. They need a partner mineral to keep the electrical signals flowing and the fluid balance in check, and without it, those cramps could still sneak back in. That mineral is next, and you might already have it sitting in your kitchen. 5. Potassium, the fluid and signal balancer. If magnesium is the backstage manager keeping your muscles relaxed, potassium is the stage crew making sure everything runs on cue. Every time your muscle fibers contract, potassium is right there, helping move fluids and electrical signals in and out of the cells. When your potassium levels drop, even a little, those signals get scrambled. That's when you wake up at 2 in the morning with your calf twisted into a knot, or your thigh quivering after you've been standing for too long. Here's something you might not know. Potassium deficiency isn't rare in older adults, even if you eat what you think is a healthy diet. Sometimes it's because of medications, like certain diuretics for blood pressure, that pull potassium out of your body. Sometimes it's because you're just not getting enough from food day after day. And the tricky part? Your body won't always give you a big warning before cramps hit. Instead, you might feel a little shakiness in your legs, a bit of stiffness when you first start walking, or even a dragging step you didn't notice before. Have you caught yourself holding onto furniture more often, just in case? Diet is your first and best source. Bananas are fine, but they're not the only answer. Sweet potatoes, spinach, beans, avocados, and even a baked potato with the skin on can pack more potassium than a banana. And when you mix them into your meals regularly, you give your muscles the steady supply they need to keep working smoothly. Potassium does more than prevent cramps. It also helps protect your bones by balancing acids in your body that can leach calcium away. That means every bite of potassium-rich food is doing double duty, feeding your muscles and guarding your skeleton. Now, you could eat all the potassium you want, but if your body is sending calcium to the wrong places, you might still face stiff joints, brittle bones, and sluggish muscles. That's why the next vitamin is like a traffic cop for your calcium, deciding exactly where it should go and where it shouldn't. And if you've never thought about it for leg health, you're in for a surprise. 6. Vitamin K, the calcium traffic director. You've probably heard a lot about calcium and vitamin D, but here's the part almost nobody talks about. Without vitamin K, your body doesn't know where to put that calcium. It could go into your bones where it belongs, or it could end up in your arteries, your joints, even in places that make you stiffer instead of stronger. Vitamin K is like the traffic officer standing at the intersection, waving calcium toward your bones and away from trouble. For your legs, that's huge. Strong bones are the foundation for every step you take, but if calcium is going to the wrong places, you could have dense arteries and brittle bones at the same time. And here's the bonus. Vitamin K also helps your muscles contract properly and your joints move more freely. That means less stiffness when you first stand up in the morning and a smoother stride when you start walking. Have you ever noticed your knees feeling rusty after sitting too long? That could be your body telling you it needs more of this vitamin. Research even shows that certain forms of vitamin K, like K2, can reduce night cramps in older adults. Imagine not only having stronger bones and looser joints, but also cutting down those midnight muscle spasms that wake you from a deep sleep. In one study, older adults who took daily K2 reported significantly fewer nocturnal cramps. A simple change with a real impact. You'll find K1 in leafy greens, like kale, spinach, and Brussels sprouts, and K2 in fermented foods like natto, aged cheeses, and egg yolks. If you're on blood thinners, you'll need to talk with your doctor before making big changes, because vitamin K plays a direct role in blood clotting. Think of it this way. Vitamin K is helping lay down the blueprint for strong, flexible, cramp-free legs. But once you've built that framework, you still need the tools to repair and energize your muscles every single day. And that's where the next vitamin steps in, turning protein into power and helping you keep moving without feeling drained. 7. Vitamin B6, the muscle repair and energy agent. If you've ever felt wiped out after something as simple as climbing a flight of stairs, even though you haven't been sick or injured, your body might be missing a key ingredient in how it turns food into strength. That ingredient is vitamin B6. Every time you eat protein, your body needs B6 to break it down and rebuild it into muscle. Without enough, the repair process slows, and over time your legs can lose the stamina they once had. B6 is also a behind-the-scenes player in keeping your nerves talking to your muscles. It helps your brain send clear, fast instructions so your legs respond exactly when you want them to. Low B6 can mean sluggish reactions, clumsy steps, or even a strange tingling or numbness that makes you second-guess your footing. Have you caught yourself gripping a handrail just in case your legs don't feel steady enough? That could be your body waving a quiet red flag. Research shows that older adults with higher B6 intake tend to stand up from a chair faster and grip stronger, both signs of better functional strength. Inactive seniors see an even bigger difference, which means it's never too late to benefit. On a deeper level, animal studies show that B6 supports the genes that help repair muscle tissue, protecting against the gradual muscle loss that sneaks up with age. You can get B6 from everyday foods: chicken, salmon, tuna, bananas, potatoes, chickpeas. But like many vitamins, absorption can be less efficient as you get older, so even a decent diet might not cover all your needs. While supplements can help, too much over time can damage nerves, so it's something to manage carefully with your healthcare provider. Think of B6 as the mechanic in your body's muscle workshop. It makes sure repairs happen fast, the wiring stays sharp, and the fuel system runs smoothly. But muscles also need a steady flow of nutrients and reduced inflammation to perform their best, especially as the years go by. That's where our final nutrient comes in. One you might already know for heart health, but its impact on your legs is just as powerful. 8. Omega-3 fatty acids, the inflammation fighter. When you think of omega-3s, you probably picture heart health or maybe brain function, but your legs have just as much to gain. Every time you walk, climb stairs, or even shift in bed, your joints and muscles take on tiny amounts of stress. Over the years, that stress can add up to stiffness, soreness, and low-grade inflammation that makes your legs feel older than they are. Omega-3s are like a cool wave over that fire, calming inflammation, keeping blood flowing smoothly and helping your muscles recover faster. If you've ever felt like your legs are heavy or slow to warm up in the morning, poor circulation could be part of the reason. Omega-3s help keep your blood vessels flexible, which means more oxygen and nutrients can reach your muscles when they need it most. Imagine feeling lighter on your feet simply because your muscles are getting a better supply line. Doesn't that sound like something worth protecting? You'll find omega-3s in fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel, as well as in plant sources like chia seeds, flax seeds, and walnuts. If fish isn't part of your diet, algal oil supplements can deliver the same key fatty acids without the seafood taste. The benefits go beyond day-to-day comfort. Studies show omega-3s can help reduce joint pain in people with arthritis, improve mobility, and even support balance, all crucial for staying independent. And here's where we close the loop. Over the past few minutes, you've learned how 8 nutrients, each working in different ways, can keep your legs strong, steady, and free from those sleep-shattering cramps. Now the question is, which one will you start focusing on today? Think back to how we started. Those nights when a sudden cramp yanks you out of sleep, leaves you clutching your leg, and makes you wonder if this is just what aging feels like. Now you know it doesn't have to be that way. Leg cramps, weakness, and wobbly balance aren't inevitable. They're often signals your body is missing the nutrients it needs to keep your muscles firing, your bones strong, and your nerves sharp. We've walked through vitamin D giving you quicker reactions, calcium fortifying the structure under you, B12 clearing the communication lines, magnesium relaxing tense muscles, potassium balancing your cells' signals, vitamin K guiding calcium where it belongs, B6 repairing and energizing your muscles, and omega-3s calming the inflammation that slows you down. Each one plays a different role, but together they're like a complete support team for your legs. Now imagine your life a few months from today. You go to bed without worrying about being jolted awake by a cramp. You wake up steady, confident to step out of bed without grabbing the wall. You walk through your day without that nagging thought. What if I fall? That's the freedom these nutrients can help you reclaim. Of course, it's not about changing everything overnight. It's about choosing 1 or 2 changes you can start today. Maybe it's adding a few more servings of leafy greens or fish to your meals. Maybe it's talking to your doctor about checking your vitamin D or B12 levels. Maybe it's replacing a snack with a potassium-rich baked potato, skin on. Small steps, but each one moves you toward stronger legs and a steadier life. And here's something I want you to ask yourself. Do you want to wait until the next painful cramp to take action, or do you want to start strengthening your legs before that happens again? If you found this helpful, share it with someone you care about who's dealing with night cramps or worried about falling. Drop a comment with which nutrient you're going to focus on first, and subscribe so you don't miss the next set of science-backed tips to help you stay strong, active, and independent. Because your legs are meant to carry you wherever you want to go for as long as you want to get there.